Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. Today's guest is Brittany Peeler, creator of Leveling Up with Brittany. She helps high achieving women break out of autopilot, reconnect with themselves, and take aligned actions in their lives. Through her work in yoga, mindfulness, and identity based habit change, she focuses on helping people rewire self sabotaging patterns and build a life that actually feels aligned. Brittany, welcome to Conversations with Sekani. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk to you.
All right. So, yeah, heads up, we're going to be diving a little bit into your 20s, right?
Ooh, my 20s?
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
I'm such
Yeah.
a good person.
I'm actually confused, right? Because you look like you're in your 20s. So I'm like, are we going back? Okay. So, yeah, on the outside, things look together, right? But internally, what was really going on for you in your 20s?
Oh my God. It I would say, yeah, so I'm Brittany Peeler. I help overwhelmed women who are
Mm,
high achieving overwhelmed women find a place of peace and calm. And
mm,
it's so near and dear to my heart because in my 20s, I come from a family of very high achievers.
mm,
My uncle is a pediatric heart surgeon. Like we have a lot of doctors and a
yeah.
lot of stuff. So the expectation I felt was very high on like what
Mm,
I was going to do with my life. And internally, it was very dark, very confusing. I was very confused. So much self hatred and shame. And I was pretty much frozen in
mm,
non action. And my only coping skill, my only like survival medicine became alcohol. So it made for a very dark 20s.
mhm. All right. Well, it's funny because what you went through is what people are currently going through, only in different ways, right? And for example, right, I come from a family that is not very high achieving, but then your pressure to achieve something big, right? So
Be the
it's
one
it
to do it, to be the one to like do it. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So, deep down, sometimes the fear just comes like, what if I'm not able to get there? Right? That fear. And it's just a very dark place, right? And I believe I'm not the only young adult going through that situation. There are a lot of people out there. So, yeah, I'd like to ask you, right? For people in their 20s, how can they tell the difference between living intentionally and just going through the motions?
I specialize in helping people get out of autopilot and
Mm,
so that's like going through the motions and operating from subconscious beliefs and patterns. And so what I would say to people in their 20s, we are living in a world right now where there is just so much pressure and so many things fighting for our attention. I mean, we know this. So many notifications, so many emails, so many God, just so many social media apps, like so just so much externally. And the foundation of everything that you do, touch, everything starts with your connection to yourself. So if I were speaking to someone in their 20s, or if I were speaking to younger me right now, I would say, hey, like sit down, take a breath. All of that stuff is going to be there. Let's start focusing on the internal space. Like, how are we relating to ourselves? How are you relating to yourself? How are you talking to yourself when things get challenging? what are the thoughts? Like, what are the words to the thoughts that you're having internally? And what is that voice telling you? Like, let's start there and then start working our way outward.
Mm. So, okay. Um, it's about listening to yourself, right? That voice inside of you. What is that voice really telling you? What do you really want for yourself? Right. So yeah. Okay, so thank you so much for that one. Actually, I feel like, you spoke to somebody, right? So yeah, you know, talking about like your 20s, right? I believe like there were some patterns or habits that you were stuck at during that time. So how were you able to come out of those habits or patterns that kept you stuck?
Yoga saved my life.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I believe that if I would not have found yoga and meditation and mindfulness, I would have
Mhm.
died. Definitely. I was heading for disaster.
Mhm.
So, and what I mean by that, and currently on my Instagram, I'm doing like a series of like, how does yoga help you stop these
Mhm.
patterns? Because I think people think yoga is just like stretching and like, okay, inner peace, whatever, la la la. What does that mean? And so what I mean in a nutshell, yoga is a way to step onto your yoga mat or where you don't even need a yoga mat, but to get present, to pay attention to your body and like the shape that you're making with your body. And when you make that shape, what sensations do you feel? Because our body is communicating to us in sensations all day, every day. And a lot of us aren't listening. So, what are the sensations that are being communicated? And then when those are communicated, what thoughts pop up? And what are the thoughts that are coming up? And like all of this stuff is happening inside of you at any given time. And like, are you fully present? Where are you mentally? Are you off thinking about that conversation that you had with your boyfriend last night? Or are you here in the moment? And
Mhm.
it's just a constant retraining, re-arriving in the present moment. And I've never found any other practice that does that, that trains us to come back to the present moment in the way that yoga does. And when we train ourselves, when you train yourself to arrive fully in the present moment over and over and over, that is where we get to start breaking these subconscious patterns, these thought loops, these habit loops, these loops that have been running for years and years and years and years that we're not aware of because we're so focused on all these things. When we retrain ourselves to anchor down into the present moment, we can start going from what I call autopilot to creating awareness. And then with that awareness, taking aligned action in the way that we want to go.
Right. Wow. Okay. So thank you so much for that one. And like you said, yoga, right? Yoga is a form of actually connecting with yourself, right? In a deeper level, honestly, actually connecting with yourself and see what you really want. It helps you think and make aligned actions with what you want. Right. So yes. Thank you so much for that one. And yeah, I want us to do a deep dive into what you do now. Right. So you talk about the shift from autopilot to awareness. And yeah, I know you've been talking about it before now, before I asked, right? But I need to really understand what does that actually look like in real life?
Going from autopilot to awareness.
Awareness, yes.
Okay. So yeah, the first step to the second step out of the three. So an example in my personal life, I'll tell you a story. So I'll be sober 3 years in May. So 3 years. So flash forward this time 3 years ago, it was a disaster. I was heading for disaster. And what it looked like, I had a great job. My boyfriend at the time owns a roofing and construction company. I was a very high level director in the company. I had a lot of people that depended on me and reported to me, and I had a lot of responsibility at the company. And I I was so overwhelmed on the inside, but I didn't I felt like I had so much responsibility that I couldn't, there was no stopping. It was just like, get through today, survive, grind, get as much done as I can, and then get home, drink wine to knock the edge off so I can finally take a deep breath, and then rinse and repeat. Do it again tomorrow. Do it again tomorrow. And I was always feeling behind. I never felt like I just always felt behind. So when I went into rehab and I got sober and I got to sit with myself and reflect on all these things that were going on around me, areas that I was on autopilot in just getting home at night. Autopilot. Automatically, I was pouring a glass of wine immediately without thinking. And so by doing that, that would kick off, first of all, like being fuzzy mentally, but I would stay up later. I would maybe skip dinner. I wasn't preparing meals for the morning. Like I was just kind of fumbling through my evening, and then I would go to bed. I would wake up hitting the snooze button, and I would feel late and behind. So my mornings were on autopilot because I'm flying out of bed. I'm just trying to scramble to get everything together and then get into the office. And then the way that I'm showing up to the people around me is autopilot because I'm not intentional. I'm not like calm and present and intentionally responding the way that I want to. I'm like all worked up and just trying to get it all done. So there were so many areas, whether it was in my relationships, in my nutrition, and my drinking habits, my sleep, like all of these areas that I was just on autopilot. I was asleep at the wheel, basically. So to stop that and start to create awareness, I had to, again, it's that practice of getting present, like coming back to the present moment. And not everything needs an immediate response. Not everything is an emergency. And when we're treating everything like it's an emergency and it needs urgent, like our attention urgently, we only have so much attention. So when we're making everything a priority, nothing is a priority. So when we shift the priority to us and our mental state and our presence, when we start to make that the priority, then we can reprioritize everything else, and in a way that is in alignment with the goals that we have.
Exactly. Wow. You know, when you're talking, it just made me realize, right, that not many people even know that they are on autopilot, right? Some people are not aware. So it takes a lot to be aware. And for example, like you said, presence, right? Just trying to be present, live for the moment, try to understand what you're doing and not just rush things through or just doing things urgently, right? Just try to calm down and just think, am I doing this on autopilot? Like you said, when you get home, you always realize you pour yourself wine. Not many people would realize that that's something you do consistently, right? That's autopilot. Exactly. So it took a lot of presence and, self-awareness to notice it. right? So yes, you need to be present, right? To, notice that you're operating from autopilot. So yes, thank you so much for that one, actually, Brittany. And yeah, if I must ask, right? So if someone wants to, okay.
I add on to that. Presence and self-awareness is not it's not like you have it or you don't. Like you're born with it or you're not. It's a muscle. It's a skill. It's a skill that you can learn and you can practice and you can improve, or you can let it atrophy and you can just like not practice it and not have it. So I just want to make that clear to anyone listening who's like, God, I wish I was more self-aware. You can practice it. That's like saying, I wish I had bigger biceps. Like you can do bicep curls. It's something that you can do to have it.
Exactly. So one needs to, listeners need to understand that it's something you could build, right? You can train yourself to be more present. Nobody was born with being present. You had to train yourself. And yeah, everybody could, have such attributes. You just have to work on yourself, train yourself to get it. All right. Thank you for that one, Brittany. And yes. So yeah, I feel like you have more to offer, right? When it comes to advice. So if someone wants to start becoming more aware, what's the simple first step they can take?
The biggest one that I am on right now, and I swear by this, first thing in the morning, first thing before the day starts flying in, even if you've hit the snooze button and you're 30 minutes late for work and you're like, oh my God, the sky is falling. First thing, just pause, stop and take a moment, sit up straight, like literally lengthen your spine, because that's our life force, our spine. And that's a whole nother rabbit hole to get into. But sit up straight and close your eyes and just observe your breath. Just breathe in, breathe out. And you can do that a couple of times. If that's all that you can manage, do that. Just take 3 breaths. Start there. Do that for a couple of days and then try doing it for 1 minute. And then do that for a couple of days and then try doing it for 5 minutes. And you may be capped out at 5 minutes, and that's fine. But just first thing in the morning, because our brain waves when we're sleeping are slow and we're like more closely connected to our subconscious. So first thing when we wake up, our brain is it's more malleable. It's easier to train it. So when we do this first thing in the morning, that is our best bet at like creating a habit out of it.
Wow. Take a deep breath.
First thing
Breathe.
in the morning. Yeah. Just intentionally get present. Just get present.
Get present. All right. Thank you so much, Brittany, I must say, because conversations like this are always so important, right? Especially for young adults who are probably trying to, get by their life or maybe achieve something, right? It might feel very overwhelming sometimes, and conversations like this are usually very helpful to young adults. So thank you. And I feel like I've learned so much personally, and I hope my listeners would learn. At least now I know that when I wake up in the morning, I need to breathe in and be present. All right, Brittany, thank you. And yeah, I'm curious, right? What are you currently working on right now that, excites you?
Oh my gosh, so many things. I I have, and I want to make this clear to the listeners. I was a person who was overwhelmed. I was in active addiction. I was drinking to the point of blackout every single night. I was not in control of my life, and I was not in the driver's seat. Today, so like 3 years later, I have my vision board. It's crystal clear. Like you can follow me on Instagram for more of my vision board stuff. Like it is so crystal clear and I see it every single day. And so the goal is I have a keynote. I've built a keynote speech and it's all about going from autopilot to awareness to taking aligned action on what you want to create, just like my vision board. And so the keynote, and then building my social media. And I just launched a course. It's called Inward, like go all about going inward. And it's called Inward, the Inner Voice Reset. So I'm working with a group of women right now, and we're working on resetting their inner voice and all of the things that impacts. And it impacts everything. And there's just so much more to come. I'm going to be doing retreats, and I do teach yoga, so I get to actually teach it. I have YouTube, so I can teach this on YouTube so people can get more of it. So I'm open if you as a listener, if you're interested and you would like more of this, I'm open to feedback on a way that I could get this information out to more people.
Okay, wow. All right. Okay, I must say you're doing an amazing job, right, Brittany? And I wish you the very best moving forward, honestly. I know you have a whole lot, right? And you can do it. That's all I can say. And yeah, I wish you the best, right, Brittany? So thank you so much for this amazing conversation. And I really do appreciate it. And it brings me to the final segment. It's called the rapid fire segment. Okay.
Right.
All right. Starting now. Discipline or awareness?
Awareness.
Okay. Routine or flexibility?
Routine.
Okay. Mind or body?
One and the same.
Okay. 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 What is one word for alignment?
One word for alignment. Freedom.
Freedom. Okay. And finally, what is one habit that changed your life? I feel like I know that one.
Well, like meditation is, but yeah, like becoming aware. One habit that changed my life. I'll say if you want more tangible, not hitting the snooze button. That's
Okay.
one that in the best time of my life, like the first year that I got sober, I never hit the snooze button. And then I started to, but this year I've started to stop. I don't do snooze button anymore. And it sets the tone for discipline first thing in the morning. And it's amazing. So that's currently a habit that's changing my life.
All right. Wow. Thank you so much, Brittany. This has been amazing. And where can listeners get to learn more about you and what you do?
My Instagram is where I post the most. So Brittany, Brittany _ Peeler, like banana peeler, Brittany Peeler. And then I'm on YouTube as well. So Leveling Up with Brittany on YouTube.
All right. And for Instagram, I'm definitely visiting that after this conversation. All right. Thank you so much, Brittany. And to my listeners, thanks for tuning into Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, just as it did in me, make sure to share to someone who you think might need this, and also subscribe so you don't miss out on new episode. Yeah, thank you so much, Brittany. I'm gonna reach out to you via Instagram after this.
Yes,
All right.
yes, I can connect.
All right. Bye bye.